When you go to a zoo, there are certain signs around the zoo that tell you things you should not and should do when it comes to the animals, right? And there's always an old saying when it comes to bears, right? It'd be a sign that says, "Don't feed the bears," right? Because once you feed them, they're gonna keep coming back for food. Well, when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes, there should be a sign that says, "Don't poke the bane." And for whatever reason, Texas A&M don't seem to have gotten that sign. They didn't see it. They breezed right past it. Welcome into another episode of Somebody Said Kane Show. I am Breeze, as always, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you are tuning in, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, please hit that share button. If you want to log into your wife's phone and hit that subscribe on her phone too, I appreciate that. We promote stealing for good purposes around here, and stealing a phone to subscribe to this page is very much encouraged. As you can see, I am joined by another homie of mine. I said when I started this that I want to bring people along with me. This is not about me. Obviously, it's about the Canes, but I know a lot of good people who follow the Canes just as much as I do, and they know ball just as much as I do. And I want to bring those people along with me. So today I got my boy Hurt with me. Hurt, what's going on with you, boss?
Hey, what's going on, baby? I'm good.
Feeling good, man.
Yeah, man.
I know you hype about this playoffs.
Oh yeah, you already know, dog. Like if everything canceled, I'm in place. If it wasn't so expensive, I'd be trying to make that ride over to College Station, get on a flight, whatever. But them tickets is wild. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
be crazy at the crib, and hopefully I don't get nobody called on me and have to crash out or nothing. So
Hey, yeah, man. Listen, people got to understand at this time of the year, bro. If your team is in the playoffs, everybody, the neighbors, the family, close friends, relatives, they
yeah.
got to understand where we at right now mentally.
Oh yeah, easy, no plans.
So, just a quick intro for people to get to know why it is that I brought you on the show, man. Let's talk about you from a Canes perspective. So, I'm going to open up with a question. I always ask my Cane guests this.
Sure.
Why are you a Hurricanes fan? Where did it start?
Oh, why am I a Hurricanes fan? So honestly, it started for me back when I was about 5 or 6. My uncles were actually we were actually watching the game, the Rose Bowl, in 2000. That's where it kind of started for me, and it was just kind of like love at first sight. Like I didn't know nothing else after that. And just Miami sports in general. Like those are all my teams, but the Hurricanes, that was it. Really started then, and after that, it just got unhealthy after that.
Okay.
Pretty much.
It's
But
definitely unhealthy.
yeah, yeah. But no, that's where it started for me, man. I saw that. I saw the way we played, the swagger we had, and it made
Mhm.
me resonate because like my uncles were the same way. Like my uncle, they went to Miami Central, so they played with some of those guys when
Okay.
they were there and things like that. So I would hear stories. So that kind of drew me in closer as well.
Okay, bet. And then the second question that I always let people know what type of Kane fan you are. Who is your favorite Kane of all time?
Woo. Favorite of all time.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I got a couple. Well, I'll say my first, and it stems from those great years, 2000, 2001, 2002. Willis McGahee.
Okay.
Willis McGahee was my favorite candidate. Like I love the way he ran the ball. I love just the way he played, how hard he ran. He could literally do everything. Like if it wasn't for that knee injury, like I don't. One, he probably don't end up with the Bills to start
Right.
off, and
Right.
two, like he's probably doing even more in the NFL than he did. So I mean, Willis McGahee was definitely for me was everything. Like even playing with him on the game, I was like, oh, you can't
Right.
stop me.
Yeah. As a ripe 12-year-old, I could not believe that he didn't win the Heisman. Like in my mind, it was like no question that Willis should have won the Heisman in '02. And as I'm older a little bit and I understand kind of how it works, I get it. But as a ripe 12-year-old, I'm like, bro, Willis is
Yeah,
the clear-cut Heisman winner. He went
yeah,
crazy that year.
yeah.
But you you,
I
you
mean, I
learn the
also think that
politics,
that's probably because they had Ken Dorsey in there too. So you got to split the
probably.
votes and everything. So it's
Guess.
probably
I
a
guess.
little bit of that in there.
Probably. All right, bro. Let's get into some of these topics, man. First of all, I want to start with a high level topic. Miami's in, right?
So,
Cool. That's dope.
hmm
It's
Yep.
incredible. But are we just in as a participant? Are we in because and it's just a fun story? But I think the question that we really got to consider is is Miami a title contender? Right? Because there are people who are in the JMUs, the Tulanes, even some people say it about Oklahoma, they say it about Alabama. Like, yeah, they're in, but we don't think they're really a title contending team. Um, is Miami one of those teams? Can Miami truly compete? I want to pose the question to you this way. When you think of a title contender, what are the elements that that team has to have, right? What are some of the things you're looking for if you're trying to figure out, is this team really a contender for a natty?
Sure. When it comes to Natty, you gotta have a quarterback. You gotta have a quarterback, number one. If you don't have a quarterback, and not just a quarterback, you need an accurate quarterback because it's not
Yep.
like you just playing the regular season games anymore. Like you need the accuracy; it has to be there. Also, trench game important.
Mhm.
Everything starts and ends in the trenches. If you can dominate both sides of the ball, you're gonna make a run. You're gonna go far. Like that's bar none. You're gonna go far. And then also just being able to win the turnover battle. If you can win the turnover battle and or just stay out of those turnovers, stay out of issues, stay clean. Keep the ball thing. You're gonna be fine and you're gonna make it far in this. I think those are probably the biggest things. And I think lastly, and they say it all the time, defense travels. What does your defense
Mhm.
look like? How is it going to be? Because hey, offense is getting low sometimes. It's going to happen. You're playing other high level teams and other teams that are going to be able to defend you and do some of the same things that you're going to be able to do. But when you need a stop, are you going to be able to get it when you need a stop on third and short, fourth and inches, fourth and one, whatever the case may be? Are you going to be able to get that stop, or is the defense going to be able to make a play on third and long, or are they going to give it up? Are you allowing
Yeah.
explosives, things like that? So if you're able to do those things and be pretty high rated in all those areas, you have a pretty good chance to be a title contender and go far.
Bro, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think you hit all the main points, right? All the key elements that you got to look for. And I appreciate the fact that you started at the quarterback position because that's a huge deal. The quarterback is the most important position, I think, in all of sports. Now,
I
baseball,
agree.
you got the pitcher is a huge deal. Basketball, you can be led by your point guard, your center can be your best guy. Soccer, you can be a defensive team, or you can have a striker who is messy and can take over games. But in football, if your quarterback can't do certain necessary things for your team to
Yeah.
be able to win high level games, bro, you're in trouble. So it starts with Carson. Just some quick stats I pulled just to say, like, where does Carson really stack up as far as the rest of the country? And is he playing at a high enough level to say that he can put the team in positions to win a national championship? Real
Hmm.
quick, 18th in points per game as an offense. Okay, that's so your top 20 offensively. Your expected points added passing is number 8. So your top 10 in terms of every single play that gets charted that's passing, is it adding to the potential for points or is it detracting for the potential for points? And so
Yeah.
saying that every time Carson throws a ball, he is adding exponential potential for points to the point where we're number 8 in the country on passing expected points added. He's second in completion percent at 74.5%, eighth in QB rating, 20th in passing yards, 15th in passing touchdowns. And then speaking to the offensive line, he's fifth in sack percentage. So, to the other point you said about the trenches, the offensive line is protecting Carson and giving him opportunities to be able to read through a defense, find open guys, and deliver a good ball. Overall, quick thoughts on Carson himself.
So I think with Carson, I think there's this narrative out there that
Mhm.
he's going to just throw the ball away. He's gonna do all these things and cause all these issues, and he's gonna be the reason why we lose. Even if you look at because people like to point to the SMU games like, oh, he threw a pick, he did that. The
Yep.
first pick he threw in that game is not his fault. It's quite literally not his fault. The ball is in it. Unfortunately, JoJo Trader's hands. It's in his hands. He drops it,
Yeah.
ends up in the safety's hands. The next one, whatever happened on the route, he threw a bad pick, fine, in overtime, but it's an overtime loss. And then outside of that, Louisville was a bad game. You look at all the other games and the picks that he thrown and what they look like. I remember even in the USF game, he threw a pick and everyone kind of, said it in jest after the game. He didn't know Malachi Tony had that type of vert because it gets tipped up
Yeah.
in the air after he jumped and it wasn't even going to him.
Yeah.
So can he sometimes make bad decisions? Yes. But is he just this person that's just inefficient and, throwing the ball all over the place and all the time? No, that's not the case. And also, I think it's very interesting what we've heard from Mario this week in different press conferences and things where he was saying Carson Beck is now fully healthy. We were worried
That's
about him
key.
being healthy at the beginning of the year, and people was like, no, he's healthy. And then as the games kind of got on, they're like, oh, he doesn't have the zip on the ball. We're not hearing about that anymore. So
Right.
now you're saying he's fully healthy. He's got an entire season in the offense. You've seen how the offense has expanded even
Hmm.
since that SMU game and what has gone on. So, and then not only that, he's ranked second best, as you stated, in the country when it comes to completion percentage. And it's not
Yeah.
just all dinking and dunking and whatever. Like he's throwing the ball, he's throwing it in tight windows as well. And if we look at, so like I pulled it, actually, if we take a look at the last 5 quarterbacks that won national championships, literally Carson Beck is right there in between all of them. And out of those, I think there's only, matter of fact, yeah, out of those, he has 74%. The only one that had a higher completion percentage than him was Mac Jones at
Yep.
76.
Yep.
That was the only person. So are you
What we
telling me
talking about?
that he can't lead us to a title
Yeah.
with the offensive line that he has, with the
Hmm.
weapons he has? I mean, I don't see the issue here. I get it. We want to talk about what happened when he was at Georgia,
Hmm.
last year. We want to talk about the 4, could have been 5 interception game with Louisville. I get it. I understand. I was pissed too. But let's be honest. If he doesn't have that performance in Louisville, he's at the Heisman ceremony tonight.
Yep. And that's the crazy part, right? Literally, it was that one game, and every game matters, and games count. Notre Dame fans, games matter.
Yes, they
Um,
do.
but if you were to remove that one game from his statistical profile, bro, that's the only blip on the screen. Outside of that, he's at 8 interceptions, which would be top 30, I believe, in the country, considering how many pass attempts he's got. And we be talking about him going to New York, right? And you're talking about Miami being not a bubble team, not a team that just got into the last at large spot. Miami would be fully in the middle of this competition. We very well might be hosting a playoff game as opposed to going on the road to Texas A&M. Real quick, let's talk about the defense because you go ahead, go ahead.
I was about to say we might be more than hosting because we would have been in the ACC championship too.
Yeah, true. No, actually, that's true story. We might have had a top 4 spot, right? We might have had a bye, which would have been nuts. So, yeah, man, the Carson narrative, yes, the Louisville game happened, but outside of that, it's hard to take anything away from him. On the defensive side, because you got to be able to play defense too. We've seen teams in the past where they have prolific offenses, but they can't stop a nosebleed, and those teams run into troubles when they get into the playoffs. Because at this point, you assume everybody can probably score points, save for maybe a couple of teams that have been struggling to do so. Real quick, some numbers I pulled on the defense: sixth in opponents' points per game, top 10 in rush yards, yards per rush, rushes per game, and rushing total yards per game. 18th in sack percentage, and then they play a big part in the team being number 2 in the country in time of possession. The other team can't score if they don't have the ball, right? Or if when you are on the field, your defense is getting them off the field quickly. So the defense, in my opinion, is also playing at an elite level, and you can put them up against most teams in the country. And at that point, you're talking about a team that has balance, right? You look
Yeah.
at some of the teams that are out there where, again, I mentioned offense might be prolific and they can light up the scoreboard, but they can't stop a nosebleed, or the defense is elite and the offense can't put points up. Miami is looking to me like one of the most complete teams in the country, bro. When you think about the defense and you think about that balance, what is it that you see? Do you see the same thing I'm seeing?
Yeah, I see that. I mean, because we talk about it all the time. If we had this defense last year, we win a national championship. Like it's not even a question. Like we win the national championship last year. I have no doubt in my mind if we have the defense now that we have. Heatherman is what he's been able to do and the way he's been able to transform this defense is absolutely insane. And the way that we play our games, we stop the run so well. I believe there's only one game we played this year where it was like we couldn't stop the run against Virginia Tech for some odd reason. Like it was it was weird. Outside of that, we stopped the run every game. And if we're stopping the run where we're forcing you to pass the ball, and then we got who on the edges? You got Mesidor and you got Bang. And then now you're seeing
Mhm.
the emergence of our tackles. You're seeing Moten going crazy. He had the first play of the game had a sack in the pit game. First play. You see emergence of Justin Scott. As last year he came in green as a freshman. Now you see him. Okay, he's getting up to speed. David Blaze coming back healthy, and with him being healthy, that's going to help the run defense even more. And then you got the young guys. So you got like Armando Blunt who'll be able to go from edge to inside. Then you still got Dante Simpson who's getting his feet wet. And they've played a full season, and now you're getting even more experience with these practices and these games. Like, so you have a game-wrecking D-line matched with Heatherman's defense, and what you see what our back end looks like, we don't hear their names majority of the game.
Right.
Like, you don't even know
Which is
they
a
out
good
there.
thing. That's a good
No,
thing.
it's exactly. It's a great thing. For our like last year, we were killing Jaden Harris because
Golly, yeah. Yeah.
he just you heard his name all game. This year, you're not hearing people's name. Like, I understand why Wisconsin was so mad. You don't hear Xavier Lucas's name unless he's making a play.
Right. Right.
Ethan O'Connor comes in, you don't hear about him. Damari Brown is over there strapping up everything.
Yeah.
And OJ been out the past 4 games, and we get him back too.
Yeah.
I don't. Come on, this defense, and you're allowing less than 14 points a game.
That's elite.
In college football, that is a winning formula.
Bro, it's absolutely elite, man. And one thing I'll add to it, and you kind of alluded to it by naming multiple cornerbacks. It took a while, I think, for a lot of people to realize that we were actually shuffling 4 corners at one point. But the
Yes.
the reason it took so long for people to figure it out is because there was no drop off. You were
Yep.
taking your starting corners off the field and Xavier Lucas and OJ, and you're putting in EOC and you're putting in Damari Brown, and there was no drop off. To me, that's when you start talking about, is your defense elite? Do you have the necessary depth? Do you have the rotation to keep guys fresh, but not sacrifice a level of play? And I think we've reached that point on this defense where you're seeing where even when guys are getting hurt, OJ goes out. There was no drop off at the cornerback play. We lost Keontae Scott for a third of the season. You move in a Bryce
Yep.
Fitzgerald, and there's no major drop off. Maybe a play here or there, but no serious drop off. You're not seeing a gaping issue in the defense. You lost Jacoby Thomas for a little stretches here or there, little parts of games. But it was never like it's clear as day that you're missing somebody. It's never been the case, which means that you've got depth, which means you get in this point of the year where guys are tired, guys get banged up. Do you have guys who can come in to supplement them and keep them fresh, but uphold that standard? And the answer so far has said yes. So again, going back to the point I made, you talk about that balance, you talk about complementary football, offense and the defense doing things to help each other out. I don't see why you can look at this team and say that Miami's not a contender. I don't see how you look at the body of work and say that Miami can't compete with some of the best in the country and the guys that they're going to have to go up against in this playoff run.
No, for sure. And you mentioned with the defense, you talk about depth, and the first thing that kind of rang in my mind was I remember even during portal season in the offseason last year, we got Charles Brantley. He was a
Mhm.
starter at Michigan State. He don't see the field unless it's blowouts. And that's not to say the
Yeah,
man is bad, because he clearly was a starter at a Big Ten school. Michigan State's not the best, but he was a starter there for multiple years.
yeah,
And he's not on the field. And we could potentially be getting Keontae Scott back as well, potentially.
huge.
If he come on. Like, that's the only thing. Like, Bryce Fitzgerald, freshman All-American, needs to
Mhm.
be a freshman All-American. And the only thing that you can say is maybe his physicality, which I think is even more improved than what people expected coming out of high school.
I
He
think
doesn't
so.
have the same physicality as Keontae Scott. But if we can get Keontae Scott back fully healthy, because turf toe that's not really something like The name turf toe itself does not accurately describe the injury that
No,
you
it doesn't.
have.
No.
It's really not a fair name.
It's way worse than what it sounds like. And I don't think people realize that. They absolutely don't, man. They have no idea just how serious turf toe can be. All right, so I think we've answered that question, right? You got the stats behind it. You've got the names and the numbers behind it. You got all Americans on both sides of the ball. This clearly is one of the most talented, one of the most balanced, and one of the most complete teams in the playoff field, which means that Miami legitimately is a contender and they got a chance to go make some noise and do some special things. Now, first
Yep.
game up, they got to go on the road. You go into College Station, Texas. You got to deal with that 12th man. They say you can feel the ground moving when the crowd get rocking real crazy.
Mm.
It's definitely a tough environment, and so you got to deal with the elements. But at the end of the day, what happens on the field is what's really going to dictate how this game goes. So you and I both made a point to go through and watch some Texas A&M games, specifically keying on the offense, specifically saying what are some things that Miami's going to have to deal with on this offense, and kind of how does it hum. So you have some thoughts that you sent over to me. What are some of the things, or what are the key people that folks need to keep an eye out for on this TAMU offense? And we both agree it starts with Marcel Reed.
Yeah, it definitely starts with Marcel Reed, man. He's, he's about 6'1", 185.
Mhm,
So it's like he doesn't seem like the
mhm.
biggest guy. But
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say, but he's not soft. He's not soft by any stretch of the imagination, and he can move. I'm sure he runs a 4.4. I'm sure he does.
probably.
Like
Probably.
easy. Like yeah. Like it's got to be mid 4.4, low 4.4. Like he's got it. And also he has a live arm.
Mhm,
When he's getting it going, he can put the ball where it needs to be. Then you got guys, on the out. You got the playmakers. So you got Le'Veon Moss,
mhm.
who, if he's healthy, can cause you some problems.
They're saying he could be back. They're saying they think
Right.
he could be back.
I mean, you're playing Miami, so he's gonna be back. That's how this works.
Of course.
You're
Yep.
not seeing
Don't always.
nobody's ever out when they play Miami. But then the next
Never.
game after that, they out for the rest of the season. Like it makes
Yep.
absolutely no sense. I do
Yep.
not get it, but he will be playing. Then you got Ruben Owens, great compliment. He does well. You got Emmitt Smith's son as well, who is there. So they got a nice little stable of backs. That can do some work if they can get the run game going. Which, if they do get the run game going, can cause us some issues, especially in the play action RPO game, because of the fact of who they have on the outside. That is what concerns me. You got Casey Concepcion. We tried
Yep.
to go after him in the portal too.
I wanted him bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
I wanted
I can
him.
only imagine. Like, and I can only imagine if we had him with Tony. With oh my gosh,
That'd be nasty.
I can only imagine. So you have Casey Concepcion. Like, need I say more? Like, we all see what he can do. I think he
Mhm.
just won the award for like most versatile player in college, which
Oh,
I
interesting.
think Malachi Tony should have gotten that. But hey, I
100%.
understand. I
I don't,
understand.
but okay.
um, and then you also have Mario Craver. The boy can move.
Yeah.
They both can
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah.
Period. They both can fly. Then they have another receiver, Bussy. He can fly too. Like, all their receivers can fly. So
Mhm.
how do we defend that? And do we make sure, or are we trying to go head up and go man against them, or are we going to be in zone and make Marcel Reed sit there and figure out what zone we're in, and really dissect the defense at that point? Are we going to try to confuse them that way? I don't know what Heatherman's going to do, but those are the things. Those are the like key pieces that I see. And also, their offensive line is not bad by any stretch. They actually are one of the better
Right.
offensive lines in the country. Now,
Yeah.
with that being said, have they faced the defense like ours, the defensive line like ours, and a defense like ours to this point? No. Even with that being said, I still give credit where credit is due, that their offensive line is good. Overall on offense, they got guys. They can make some things happen if they're on and you're not careful on defense and you're not communicating and really doing what you need to do.
Yeah, man. Like we said at the top, it begins and ends with Marcel Reed. When I put the film on, you really see that the offense goes as he goes, and he can be a
Yeah.
little bit streaky. The thing
Yeah.
is, with a quarterback that's streaky, when they're off, okay, great, and it's so much easier to play against them. But when the hand is hot, it could be a problem. It can be a big
Get
problem,
mad.
especially with his yeah, man, especially with his dual threat ability. So, what I see when I put on the film is they try to get the ball out quick, a lot of slants, drags. Don't really see much of an intermediate passing game, but they definitely will take their deep shots when they feel like they got a matchup that favors them, right? Because as
Yeah.
you mentioned, they got those receivers with that speed. So they'll throw those 9 routes, those go balls. But a lot of times they're using that quickness of KC and Cravers in the quick game. Bubble screens, slants, drags, rub routes. If you're going to go man against them, especially like South Carolina ran a lot of man against them, and you
Mm-hmm.
saw them trying to hit the quick screens, trying to get those natural rubs to create a little bit of additional separation to get those guys in space. So playing Marcel Reed, in my opinion, when I looked at it, I'm trying to project what do I think Heatherman might want to do. I thought back to when we played Florida State, where
Mm.
you played a containment game against Thomas Castellanos, because similarly, you don't want him getting out the pocket because that's actually when they're at their best. I think,
Yeah.
like a Castellanos, Marcel Reed is best when he's outside of the pocket, he's improvising, and now he's a threat to run the ball. He ran for 466 yards and 6 touchdowns this season, on
Mm-hmm.
top of throwing for 2,900 yards and 25 touchdowns. So
Yep.
he is a problem outside the pocket. But when he's in the pocket, and I thought Texas did a really good job of this, disturbing the pocket, making him move his feet. I thought his mechanics got a little loose. The mechanics
Yeah.
got a little funky, and he didn't deliver passes the way he should. And you pulled out a couple clips that we're going to go into that show that about Marcel Reed, about some of the things that when he can get happy feet or his eyes aren't good, and it turns into problems for the offense. So definitely saw those things. You mentioned the wide receivers and Cravers and Casey Concepcion. They're both combined for 1,000 yards after catch this season. If you don't know, for those who don't watch a lot of film and don't dig into the stats, that's elite. Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal. So you got to
Like
tackle well in space. Go ahead, yeah.
they're getting the ball, like, and to your point, like, they're not, because you said earlier, it's like, oh, they're not doing a lot in the intermediate game. They'll throw their deep shots. They will definitely throw their deep shots, but everything is pretty short, and they're just getting them the ball. Say, hey,
Yeah.
it's my guy against yours. You got to tackle him.
Yeah.
So
Because if you
are
miss a
we
tackle,
able?
they up the field.
Oh yeah, if you miss a tackle, it can get bad fast.
But that's 50. Like you miss one tackle on these boys, that's minimum 30 in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
you
So
gotta get them down. You gotta contain them.
yeah, so it's like, even if we don't have Keontae Scott back, you got to make sure that you're tackling. And I think that's something really, there's only one game where I was like, tackling was Virginia Tech as well. That was a weird game defensively.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, we've been a pretty good tackling team. So that hasn't been an issue that I've noticed like years past, because there have been times we've been absolutely horrible. So, but that, I don't see that has been an issue for us really.
The Louisville game a little bit too. I felt like we let some stuff break loose.
Okay.
Obviously, you
Yeah.
give credit to the opposition. Chris Bell is an NFL receiver, right? He's
Yeah.
he's not healthy right now, unfortunately, but if healthy, I think he's a,
Yeah.
a day one, second round at worst wide receiver pick. And then, Isaiah Brown or Isaac Brown,
Yeah. Yep.
the running back, again, speed, he's a problem. And I didn't think we did a great job of containing and tackling those guys. But yeah, it hasn't been an issue as it has in the past.
Yeah.
So, but you can't let it become an issue Saturday.
For sure.
Like
Yeah. For
the
sure. Yeah.
20th,
No.
it can't, sometimes problems creep up. That one
Mhm.
cannot creep up on the
Yeah, it
20th
can't. That
because,
yeah, cannot.
and then as far as the running game and the offensive line is very big, very experienced. So Trey Zune, the one who made the comment about Ruben Bain, he was a first team All SEC. He won the Jacobs blocking trophy for
Yep. Saw
being
that.
the best offensive lineman in the country. So very very experienced, very very big, very sizable. But the thing is, I didn't actually see them as like maulers by any mean. Game on Paper has a really cool stat. If you've never looked at gameonpaper.com, they are unfortunately one of them at least is a Florida State fan. I think another one's a Georgia Tech fan. So They got
Mm,
that against them. But as far as the work they do, they had a really good stat, and it's one that I don't see often. It's called O-line yards. And essentially
okay.
what they're trying to account for is how many of your yardage was created by the offensive line. I think some people try to do it more so of yards before contact, right? To say,
Hmm.
or and you also will layer that with the stat of like your negative yardage plays.
Yeah.
This similarly is doing the same thing. They're only in the 57th percentile in offensive line yards according to Game
Hmm.
on Paper, which says that they're not necessarily creating gaping wide holes for running backs to run into. It says that they're probably middle of the pack in the country in terms of what they're doing to create running opportunities or the yardage that they themselves are creating through their blocking. So they're kind of middle of the pack on that. And then you kind of see that from the running game. The running game to me is good, not great. Right? They
Yeah.
are 29th in rushing yards per game, 25th in yards per attempt, and then 25th in total rushing yards expected points added. So good, not great. Right. And then you look
Mhm.
at some of the defenses they went against, to your point, aside from Notre Dame, which they did light up Notre Dame week
They
2,
did.
and they played Texas at the end of the season. Texas really won that battle. I think Texas defense did a lot of really good things, but outside of those teams, I don't think they played a lot of elite defenses. And even sometimes playing against okay defenses like Auburn, Auburn gave them problems. Auburn held them under 20 points.
They
So
did.
I don't see an offensive line that's dominant. I see an offensive line that's good enough to a lot of playmakers to do their jobs.
Yeah, they're big enough, good enough. They do what they have to do, and I think it's one of those things where we bring in the narrative of SEC lines and things like that. When you're playing different people, like they're big, so they're going to
Mhm.
be naturally be able to overpower you and do those things. But to your point, they're not the one. They're not creating these huge holes and really busting these big runs on their own. It's a lot of playmaking from the running backs and like Le'Veon Moss breaking
Correct.
tackles and doing things like that. So
Yep. All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into some film. So you had a couple of clips that you spotted when you were going back and watching some Texas A&M offensive stuff. We're gonna start with Marcel Reed. We're gonna do just a couple of clips on Marcel Reed, and you
all right,
pulled out a good clip and a bad clip, right? So we'll do good Marcel, bad Marcel. Let's start with the good. So I'm gonna throw this one up. Feel free to kind of set the stage. What was it about this play that kind of drew your attention, and then we'll go through the play.
yeah. So good play here. So Marcel Reed, as you see, they're trying to contain him in the pocket. So they got him. They got him
Mhm.
pretty much hemmed in. Now, naturally, you would think a guy who's dual threat, he might try to escape, out of his right side here, and just go ahead and run, go get a couple yards. But as the play continues on, you
Yep, and how
see,
you play.
yep, as the play continues on, he just steps up in the pocket. He makes a good throw, a great throw, and it's on time. It's a little high, but the receiver never has to break stride. The receiver never broke stride when he caught it, but you do see him. He's bouncing a lot, like he's
Mhm.
moving a lot. So you can tell that if you can keep him in the pocket, you can frustrate him and potentially cause him to make an inaccurate throw. Now, this time, he made a great throw. Kramer caught it over the middle, take it out right to the sideline. Good play, no issue, no harm. So we're good there. So I think in that, some of those are gonna happen. That's just back end. We got to defend. We got to do. What we got to do. But keep him in the pocket. I prefer for him to make his throws there. Let him make his throws there. Do not let him escape. If he's gonna beat us, he got to beat me that way.
No, I agree, man. And yes, this play worked out, and I thought he did a good job of being patient and not just taking off at the first
Yeah.
sign of trouble. One thing I noticed, in addition to the bouncing you called out, I didn't like his eyes on this one. So you see at the snap of the ball, he's looking to his right. So he's already decided he's trying to hit the hole here, right? They're running this route where that's the first window. But when you
Mm-hmm.
look at him as the play progresses, he's still just looking that way. Like he never came off that read. And I think in the next clip, in a bad Marcel situation, is a similar situation where his eyes never move. So as a quarterback in this situation, you want to keep your eyes up, but you can't stare people down. Now, this one it works out. Again, he reads it, he's watching the whole way, and Notre Dame's coverage was funky in this one. I don't know how you end up with the middle of the field. Like literally from hash to sideline, there's nobody there.
That's not a soul.
looks like they're running cover 3. So you got this guy running with the go route. You got your deep middle, and then this corner was dropping in the coverage as well. I don't know what it. Maybe I think this linebacker may have been reading his eyes. And dude, now you just left the middle of the field wide open, and so it worked out.
Mm-hmm. All
You
right.
know, to your point, he's bouncing around. He kind of double clutches a couple times and gets the ball a little loose. The mechanics weren't great on it, but it didn't bite him, right? So he was able to
Right.
get away with it and it worked out. But he can do that. But to your point,
Yeah.
that's what we want to see. That's the things that we want. We want him making his plays from the pocket as opposed to getting out of the pocket and being even more of an issue. Let's flip
Yeah.
now to bad Marcel, right? Is what we'll term it. What was it about this play that caught your attention, and why did you want to call this one out specifically?
Man, so this play, South Carolina. So we know the first half against South Carolina was absolutely atrocious. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that South Carolina was going to blow the doors off, and it was going to get bad. So just roll the clip here, roll the clip here, and we'll
Yep.
just watch what he does. So he steps up and absolutely like just completely misses Casey Concepcion again. As I mentioned in the first clip, he has a tendency to throw high. So not
Mm-hmm.
only was this one also high, it was behind him.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's an I'm not sure what that's about and why that seems to always happen where he's inaccurate to the point where it's always going high. But that's something to pay attention to. And that's where he could potentially give us the ball. Where I see his inaccuracies coming. Because look, he does a good job. He feels the rush, he steps up, but then it's like because he had the pressure, he just misses. So it's almost as if
Yeah.
he knows what to do, he does it, but because the pressure is there, it just throws everything off, and he's just going to be off. And so I think with that, because people love to complain about, well, Bain doesn't have all the sack numbers in the world. Have you seen the pressure numbers he has?
Yeah. That's a good point. Man, that's a good point.
So if we're talking about being able to pressure Marcel Reed and frustrate him or make him think twice, oh, that's going to be huge. Because look here, Dylan Stewart is walking somebody back into Marcel
Yeah, he
Reed on this
is.
play.
Yeah, he
Like
is.
so, like he's absolutely walking this brother back. I feel sorry for you. Just walk that brother down.
He took that boy on a stroll, didn't he?
Hey, I feel sorry. Boy, he has a family, Dylan. Don't do that to him.
Hold on,
So
man. Hold on. Bro, look at where this tackle is up, bro. That's crazy you said that. Hold on. Let me bring this thing back. But look at where this man is. Bro, the
yeah,
line was here.
you're getting absolutely destroyed.
Yeah,
But again, Marcel Reed does a good job here because when you think dual threat
he
guy,
does.
just why don't you just run? That's what your automatic thing. Oh, dual threat guy, just go because you held the ball too long. The pocket's closing in, like everything just run. But no, he sits there, waits. He had Casey open,
Yep.
like he can hit. Like that's an open throw. It's wide open. Just hit him,
Mhm.
and he misses.
I think part of it, as I'm looking at his delivery, he takes a big step and then stands forward too far on that front leg, in my opinion, which means
Mm-hmm.
now you're over driving the ball because your momentum is already moving forward, right? As you climb the
Mm-hmm.
pocket, which he did, to your point, he did a really good job of climbing the pocket, right? Because the pocket's collapsing around you. South Carolina got too far up the field. They allow him to step up in the pocket. But then now, as your momentum moves forward and you take that big lunge step, right? Now you're driving that ball with the front, and if your mechanics in your arm, which you can't really see it here, mechanics are a little loose in that arm angle, and now the ball can sail on you. You got to do a really good job of keeping your balance when you make that final step, not getting too long in your stride, and that way the ball either if you shorten it too much, the ball can end up in the ground. If it's too big ahead, right? You think about when you were playing quarterback and with your homies or whatever, y'all playing 500, right? You trying to really drive that ball. You take that big old step to get it way up the field, right, or get
Yeah.
it way up in the air. So when you take that big step and you're pushing off that back foot, the ball can kind of sail on you a little bit. And I think that's what happened. To your point, though, he saw the right read. Casey
Yeah.
is wide open. He could not be more open, but because he didn't deliver that ball in the right place, It goes from being what could be a big game. Because here's the other thing. If I pause this,
If
bro,
Casey
if
catches this
Case,
ball, he's
oh
gone.
my good, because your momentum's going this way. You're cooked. If he catches
Yeah,
that ball coming this way, bro, if that safety doesn't take the best angle, if this bottom safety doesn't take the best
yeah,
angle, that's a touchdown. And
yeah,
instead, because Marcel got a little funky with his mechanics, now you're talking about a ball going the other way, and you put South Carolina in scoring position. Now they only end up getting a field goal out of it, so they weren't really able to make him pay for it. But man, turning the ball over like this in this position, Miami safeties are catching this and going the other way, and they're trying to go get
hmm
7. And if they don't, you're talking about putting one of the more successful red zone offenses in the country in really, really good field position. And then the last thing is it completely deflates a crowd, right?
yes,
Nothing deflates a crowd like you giving the ball away. So you talk about the
yes,
12th man, it's going to be over 100,000 fans in there. It's going to be rocking. They will get dead silent if Marcel Reed is giving his ball away. And so if Miami gets those opportunities, we got to take them. You got
yeah,
to take those opportunities. You cannot let those pass you by.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we're one of the best teams as far as turnover margin in the country, and Texas A&M is one of the worst.
It's not great.
It's
It's,
not. And even
it's not
to
a good
that
look.
point, like thinking about it now, I just remembered because I saw this stat earlier. Um, Marcel Reed, obviously, we know he wants that first read, and if he doesn't get it, then that's when trouble happens. He
Mhm.
actually, his average time to throw is like 2.9 seconds, I believe, which
It's one of the
is,
slowest.
yeah, it's like in the 90s, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's real slow.
Or matter of fact, no, it's 107, 107 in the
Ooh,
country.
ugh,
So you're talking about 107 in the country. We've played 4 quarterbacks this year that have had longer than him, and we won all those games. So that was USF,
yeah,
Pitt, Virginia Tech, and FSU, and all those guys are mobile. So
yeah,
we've been here and done this.
correct. I don't think Texas A&M at the quarterback position is bringing anything that's completely unlike we've seen. We played against Thomas Castellanos. Say what you want to say about him. I don't think they're overly different. Thomas Castellanos is a dual threat quarterback. He has problems with accuracy. He has problems of reading a defense. I think Marcel Reed kind of has some of the same things. Marcel Reed only completed 61.8% of his passes this season. That's not great. He only completed greater than 65% completion against FBS opponents 3 out of 9 times. That says
Mm-hmm.
that you're not consistently getting the ball to your guys, or your guys just have drops issues, which they kind of had that in that South Carolina game in the first half. But those receivers are legit. So I'm not blaming the receivers on that. I think it's just him not able to consistently hit his guys, as we just saw in that clip, where a guy's wide open and you just can't get the ball to them. So I don't. So we've seen a quarterback like that in Castellanos. We played against Byron Brown. We played against Kyron Drones. So we've played against quarterbacks that have that dual threat ability. But if they've got an issue, we've been able to really dig into that. Mason Heinschel, same thing, dual threat quarterback, have
Mm-hmm.
been lighting people up. We made him look like a freshman. Right? He is a freshman.
Yeah.
And he looked like a freshman based on
He
what we
did.
were able to do against him. The run game wasn't there. He similarly to Marcel Reed holds on to the ball against this pass rush that isn't good. So I'm interested to see how Texas A&M tries to attack us. I expect a lot of quick stuff. I expect the bubble screens, the slants, the drags, timed up shots, but I expect them to not have to ask Marcel Reed to hold on to that ball too long
Yeah.
and then put him in danger.
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna, if anything, try to take what Louisville did.
Okay. Hey man, real quick, how do I want to approach this? I don't want to do game score yet because I'm gonna save that like my final prediction on the game score for a show I'm gonna do later in the week. I'm gonna try and get a couple more shows out this week. The next one I'm gonna do some film review on the defense of Texas A&M, some things that I saw and things that I think Miami either needs to be worried about or things that Miami can maybe take advantage of. And then I'll do
Mhm.
a final show with Miami's keys to the game, right? Just a summary. So I'll probably do a Tuesday night show and probably a Thursday night show. Tuesday, I'll
Okay.
do a film review on TAMU's defense. Thursday, I'll try and do a Miami's final keys to the game to go get a victory at Texas A&M first round of the playoffs. But this is what I want to ask you: if you had a goal in terms of Miami needs to hold Texas A&M either to this amount of points, this amount of yards, what would you land on thoughts? And I know I'm kind of throwing a curveball at you with this one, but if you got an idea of where you think that sweet spot is in terms of points of yardage, what would you say it is?
Uh, I would say points. They can't score more than 24.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
can't score more than 24 points.
Okay.
And then Marcel Reed cannot have a game where he passes for 300 plus.
Okay. Okay. I think I can live with that. Points, I'm cool with 24. Miami has not given up more than 24 points all season, which means if we're able to hold Texas A&M to 24 points, then we've held up the standard that we had
Mm-hmm.
all year. Well, I think is it outside of Notre Dame we haven't given up more than 24 points or something like that? No, they scored 24 too. We beat them
Yeah, because
27-24.
what did
So
SMU have?
that was in overtime. So in
Yeah,
regulation, we
overtime.
haven't given up more than
Yeah.
24 points in regulation all season. So if you hold Texas A&M to 24 points, you upheld the standard. I'm gonna say 20. Right? I'm gonna say if you don't give up the explosives, you make Marcel Reed earn his keep, make him
Mm-hmm.
read defenses. You take away that first read. I think we can hold him to 20 points or less. And if
Yeah.
we
No.
don't, then you probably let something bust out. Maybe a special teams issue because they do put Casey Concepcion on punt return. He is a
Mm-hmm.
problem there. He's a threat there. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't know that we should allow them to disturb the standard we've set of you're not going to put up more than 24 on us. So I think 20
Yeah.
is fine. Also considering they've got kicking issues. I noticed that when I was
Mm,
watching the film,
mm.
they missed at least one kick against South Carolina. They missed one against Texas. They don't have a bona fide point getter at the kicking position too. So at that point, I'm thinking like 20. And I don't know, I could
Yeah.
be wrong on this. I could be way off, but 20 absolutely max 24 points. I don't think this offense should be able to do more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at that because, I think to games like they played against, Texas, Auburn, you know,
Mhm.
y'all weren't scoring like that and scoring crazy. And crazy thing is even like Auburn, y'all were moving the ball down the field and
Yeah.
but just couldn't finish.
They
And
they have not been a great red zone scoring team. They're not great at it. They just haven't been. So again, they rack up yardage. Against Auburn, they racked up yards. Texas,
yeah,
they had a decent amount of yards. South Carolina, they had a decent number of yards. In the second half, they went off in points, but they're not a great red zone team either, which is surprising considering you got to do it through a quarterback.
yeah, and that's the thing because even in games like the Notre Dame game, they both teams went crazy putting up 40 plus points and they win that game. But if it's not for a hold that's not called, they lose that game.
They should have lost. 100%. They should have lost. 100%. So
You know,
yeah,
and if
man.
Auburn had any sense of an offense,
Bro, free Cam Coleman.
yeah, come over here. I know the money's
Hey,
good, but
man.
I know the money's good, but you can get that in Miami. Come on down. It's all right.
Hey,
It's all right.
man.
Come on down.
I'm a fan of Alex Golesh because I'm a USF grad, bro. Hey, I need Cam Coleman in that portal, dog. You gotta get out of there, bro. Get out of there, come to Miami. Hey, man,
Hopefully,
appreciate you again joining, bro. I appreciate
for sure, man.
everybody that tuned in. Again, if you tuned in, thank you. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. Share it with your homies. Ran it up in subs this in the last week or two. A lot of folks been showing love, and I can't say thanks enough because I can't do this and some of the things that I plan on doing without folks showing that love. Bro, I appreciate you coming on and chopping it up with me, bro.
For sure, dog. Hey, I'm glad to do it. Hey, let me know anytime you want me on. I'll jump on with you.
Oh man, I'm definitely gonna have you back, dog. As always, appreciate everybody else. And as always, go Canes. And we